not gonna lie, when I saw that Joe Brady got hired by the Bills, I honestly could not stop laughing. I felt like the Big Show back in 2012 when he was world champ going against Ricardo Rodriguez. That kind of laugh. That is funny as hell. Got rid of probably their best coach since... What was his name again? Oh yeah, Marv Levi. Levi was the man, but McDermott probably the second best head coach in Bills history. And the Bills got rid of him because he didn't perform to expectations, yet Joe Brady and Brandon Beane are the ones to blame for this bullshit. But anyways, I think we should just get straight to it. Welcome back to Crazy Talks Football, ladies and gentlemen. We got NFL wide receiver tier list for this video, for this episode. Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit short one. I'm gonna try to keep it short. I don't want to make it too long, so I'm just gonna do all 32 starting wideouts, or 32 sets of starting wideouts, because there's a wide receiver 1 and 2. If you are enjoying the series so far, make sure you hit this up, hit that thumbs up, hit the red subscribe button as well, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. It helps the channel a lot. This is the Grizz, and without further delay, let's get straight to it. Basically about the same categories as the quarterbacks and running backs. You got the elite receivers, you got above average, decent, mid, same kind of deal, serviceable, and of course the dungeon of ass. Capiche? Alright, bet. First things first, we got Khalil Shakir. I'm putting him in the middle tier, decent or mid. I actually think he is a decent receiver. I don't know if he's a wide receiver 1, however. I'm not sure what Brandon Beane's deal is with drafting wide receivers. Like, can you actually get a number 1 receiver other than Stephon Diggs? He did have 700 yards, he did have 4 touchdowns, but, you know, just something inside me just did not think he's a wide receiver 1. I actually drafted him in this year's fantasy football. We'll probably never draft the Bills receiver again unless he is actually very, very good. I can't remember what round I picked him in. It might have been like 6th or 7th round. Never making that mistake again. Next up, we got Jalen Waddle. R.I.P. Tyreek Hill, though. But as far as this one, yeah, I think he's an above-average receiver. I don't think he's elite yet, but he's actually good. Even though he had to deal with 2 different quarterbacks, he still found a way to really, really produce. Almost 1,000 yards. I think he got 900 yards over that and 6 touchdowns. He found a way to make it work, even though he was playing with Tua and also Quinn Ewers, also known as Chad Powers. I mean, look at this guy. This guy, does he not look like Chad Powers from that one film that Glenn Powell's doing? This guy is a freaking NFL quarterback. Gotta be honest, I didn't think we were getting Chad Powers in real life. Next up, we got Garrett Wilson. Unfortunately, he got hurt, so I'm going to use him as the placeholder for every single Jets receiver. Ass. I'm sorry, that was not Garrett Wilson. I apologize. That was A.D. Mitchell. But still, this receiving core was complete ass. No receiver had over 500 yards. They didn't even get there. Like, the best one was A.D. Mitchell with 453. Literally got shipped off from the Colts. I mean, he sucked in Indy, and now he's sucking in New York. Like, he just got sent to the place where players go to die. Players where careers die. That's what I mean by that. I don't think an explanation is needed for that one. Like, that whole entire receiving corps sucks. Rounding out the AFC East, it seems like. First off, we got Stephon Diggs. I don't think he is an elite wideout, but he definitely was above average this year, especially coming off of injury in Houston. It's just the consistency issue. It's like, he'll have a great game one day, and then he'll have 2 catches for 20 yards the next. Did finish with just shy of 1,000 yards, but only 4 touchdowns? Yeah, you can see why I put him in above average, because once again, it's the inconsistency. Almost forgot about this, but they also added Kayshon Boutte in this one. I don't think he was that bad of a pretty good receiver. I think he was decent. Maybe a mid-wideout, you know. He wasn't thought of as a number 1 option. I think it was more of like a 3 or 4, but this season he wasn't so bad. I mean, the guy had 500 yards and 6 touchdowns. Like, I don't know if there was any injury or something, but he did move the depth chart and actually became a pretty good piece for the New England's passing attack for Drake May. Yeah, some long touchdowns there and then, but he makes some big plays as well. Go watch the film. Moving on to AFC North. First up, Jamar Chase. Yep, I think you know where I'm going with this one. One of the best receivers in the game. 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. A very, very solid season despite, you know, all the stuff that happened in Cincinnati. As long as he could just keep his mouth shut and not punch anybody, he is a once-in-a-lifetime talent at wideout. He was 5th overall pick a few years ago, and he is already one of the best receivers in the game, and he continues to do so. Most targets in the entire NFL, and most or second most receiving yards per catch. Oh no, excuse me, most receptions per game. That's how you know Joe Burrow fully trusts Jamar Chase, at least for this season. And maybe even seasons onward. Next up, we got T. Higgins. He is a very solid wideout. He might not be, where Jamar Chase is at, but he is still a good one. Actually had 11 touchdowns this year and 800 yards. He's always overshadowed by Jamar Chase, but you can't deny what T. Higgins has done for the Bengals. He could have taken a hefty contract, to be a starting receiver elsewhere, but decided to stay in Cincinnati, and all of a sudden, he's actually a very good wide receiver too. Some of these guys are very good wide receiver twos that would be starting receivers anywhere else. And I said some. Next up, we got Jerry Jeudy. Ass. That magical Pro Bowl season is well behind him. This guy sucked this year. Something I really actually thought this guy was going to continue to be great, but somehow he has become more of a clown show in a head case than a good wide receiver. This guy is getting mad at his quarterback, skipping down the sideline, fumbling the ball. Like, he has been doing everything wrong this season. I mean, heck, Isaiah Bond might even be better than him this year. Okay, I'm being a little delusional there, but still, this guy was not good at all. And of course, now we got DK Metcalf. I think he is at the top of his game, finally on an offense. Actually, no, he went to a worse offense. He went to the Steelers, but he still produced. Might just put him in above average right now. 850 yards, 7 touchdowns. If he doesn't punch a Lions fan, he probably has 900 yards, maybe even 9 touchdowns. He wasn't a game changer for the Steelers, but he did help them win some games with his performances. Yeah, he just wasn't the dominant receiver that people thought he was going to be coming out of Seattle. Once again, not his fault, but, it just sucks because I thought he had a lot more in him than just being a freaking head case. Next up, we got Calvin Austin. I know he's a wide receiver too. I might just put him in serviceable. He wasn't horrible in any way. He just isn't used so much. I think that really does fall on Arthur Smith's shoulders as well. Because this guy, I think he used to be used a lot more last season than he was this year. I think Calvin Austin has a lot of potential. I think he just needs to go somewhere where he can actually have a very good role. No, don't tell him to go to Atlanta. I think we're going to be looking for somebody like a better option. Moving on, we got 3 receivers from the Ravens. First off, Zay Pro Bowl Flowers. I'll put him in above average. Why not? I don't think he was bit by any means. I think he is a solid wideout. It was just, people were questioning about him being in the Pro Bowl despite having more fumbles than touchdowns. But, dude, touchdowns are not the only stat for a receiver. Guys, 14 yards per reception in every single game. Yes, he did have 3 fumbles this season, but 6 touchdowns, 1,200 yards. He has been very good, not only catching the football, but also after the catch. Keep sleeping on Zay Flowers. For D-Hop and Rashad Bateman, putting them in the same category. They're serviceable. It's just they're a little overshadowed, not only by Flowers, but also the tight ends and also the run game. If they didn't have Derrick Henry on their team, I think these two would actually have a lot better, receiving stats. DeAndre with 330 yards, Rashad Bateman 224 yards, both with 2 touchdowns. If they didn't have as good of a rushing game as they have right now, I don't think that those two would be having as low of receiving stuff as they had this season. They were just a part of the plan, and that's that. I think they're going to be good receivers in the future, but yeah, the fact that they're in a situation where it's like a balanced attack really did hurt them here. Next, we got AFC South, starting with the Colts. Michael Pittman Jr., I'm going to put him in above average. I know he didn't have the most receiving yards on his team. I think he got beat out by Tyler Warren and also a guy that's coming up. But I think his impact on this team cannot be forgotten about. I mean, for a team that feeds the ball to Jonathan Taylor most of the time, his impact on that offense has actually been very nice. Just the kind of inconsistencies, but when he gets the ball, he can actually catch the ball, and he can make some plays. Remember that stretch when he had, his first 10 games in the season, he had 8 games where he had, 4 or 5 more receptions or more across the entire first 10 games? That was because Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones, was able to find him because he knows he's going to be open, and he knows he's going to make the catch. Sure, he did decline late in the season, but you can't tell me that Michael Pittman is bad. He is not bad at all. If you say he's bad, you quite literally don't know ball. Next up, we got Josh Downs. I'm going to make this a little bit short and sweet. I think he is serviceable. Like, he's not a bad option. It's just he's being underutilized over Pittman and Pierce. He has some good games there, and then it's just like he's just not being used well enough to really warrant that he should be able to get some more catches and more snaps thrown to him. 566 yards, 4 touchdowns, like almost, 4 receptions per game. Like, it's kind of how that is sometimes, He has those 6 reception games there and then, but it's just like not enough to be on a consistent basis that he can actually be a very reliable target. But he still had a good impact on that team. And then finally, over the Colts, we got Alec Pierce. His impact on that Colts team, he had the most receiving yards. He actually somehow had 1,000 yards with less receptions. That's pretty darn impressive. Mr. Long Reception Boy, Alec Pierce. He has actually been a very nice receiver for the Colts. I know he's not the number 1 option, but when you throw to him deep and he beats his man, he can actually catch that ball for a long gain, maybe even a touchdown. People are going to be like, oh, he has 1 deep reception per game. Maybe that's true, but he does have 4 receptions a game for like most of the season. So it's not like he gets 1 deep ball and then he doesn't get thrown to the rest of the way. Like, no, he gets the ball more often than that. That's why I think he is a very solid wide receiver too for the Colts. Man, Daniel Jones, you went into a very good situation. It's just a shame you got hurt. Next up, we got the Jags. First up, Jacoby Myers. I'm actually going to put him in above average, believe it or not. 800 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, he can really get involved. Like, he had 5 catches per game. Like, even when he was on the Raiders, he was making a very good impact on the receiving corps. Jacoby needed to get out of Vegas because they sucked, and then he went to the Jags and actually became a really good pass catcher. Actually became the number 1 target for Trevor Lawrence. So there's definitely something he's doing right over there in Florida. And then, of course, we got Brian Thomas. I'm going to put him in mid. I think that's exactly where he's going to be. 700 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, has the good game there and then, but it's just like he did not live up to expectations when, he had that magical season last year in his rookie year. The sophomore slump, it happens to everybody, but, in 2026, it's kind of make or break year unless, Jaguars are planning on trading him somewhere. But I think he's going to be okay. For the Titans, they got Elik Ayamaner. For a while, he actually looked like a mid receiver, but right now, he's just serviceable. Like, he did get 500 yards, 4 touchdowns, had that stretch of games where he actually looked like a very good wideout. It's just he didn't do it enough. Like, it's just a shame that the most catches he had was 4 because of guys like Shamir DK, Calvin Ridley for the first half of the season, and maybe some other receivers out there that really take away his targets. I hope he turns into a good receiver, but yeah, this was not the greatest season in the world for him. There are 3 receivers for the Houston Texans. First up, Nico Collins. Not the best season in the world, but he's still been above average. 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Obviously been the number 1 receiver for Houston all season long. Like, when he's on the field and he gets the ball, he is amazing on turn to catch, and also on those deep receptions as well. He's legitimately their number 1 guy for a reason. Now we got Christian Kirk. Put him in the low end of serviceable. I think he had like 1 or 2 good games, and that was pretty much it. And sure, he had that great wild card game, but where the funk was he the rest of the season? I think he had that game against Buffalo where he had a touchdown. He had the game against Baltimore where he had 4 catches, 64 yards, but that was pretty much it. Now I'm going to put him in as I don't think he deserves to be in the same tier as A.D. Mitchell or Jerry Jeudy, but yeah, this was not the greatest season for him at all. That trade flopped. Next up, we got Jaden Higgins. I don't think he is as good as Nico Collins right now, but I do think he's more of an underrated wideout. I'm putting him at decent. This guy's a sneaky good wideout. Like, when he gets the ball, like, it's actually a pretty good job for him. Like, he doesn't get enough passes because, guys like Christian Kirk, Nico Collins, and Dalton Schultz take away the targets. But when he does catch the ball, he actually does make some good plays. I remember he had 4 straight games where he had 4+ catches like per game, and then he also had 6 catches against New England. Like, this guy could really be a wide receiver 2, maybe a low-end wide receiver 1 in the near future. For the Chiefs receivers, I'm going to just make this quick. Rashee Rice is the only mid receiver on here, because otherwise Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown are serviceable. Is it me, or is that Chiefs receiving core just pretty much average at best? Like, Hollywood Brown, like, if he had the same energy in game 1 that he did the rest of the season, he would be an elite receiver. But of course, after he had 10 catches against the Chargers, he decided to disappear. I made sure he had 2 touchdowns against the Detroit Lions, but other than that, we barely saw anything from him. Rashee Rice, he's the better of the 3. He has 6 touchdowns, 571 yards, but I think he had more a consistently good game, perhaps, than any of the other 2, in my opinion. He had 9 catches for 105 and a touchdown one game. Then he had 8 catches for 141 against the Colts that went to overtime. But other than that, yeah, just the inconsistency issue. But he has been had the most receptions by a receiver or wideout, at least for the Chiefs. And for Xavier Worthy, he hasn't been the absolute worst receiver in the world, but he's also not even close to Rashee Rice right now. He's honestly the 3rd option right now because Hollywood's the 2nd, and he is actually built like a slot receiver. Yeah, dude, the only true number 1 wideout on that Chiefs team is Rashee Rice. Because Hollywood's 5'9", and Worthy's 5'11". You drafted 2 slot build wideouts to be your wide receiver 2, and none of them pan out to be that. Well, maybe they did, but not exactly the one that you envisioned. For the Raiders, we got Trey Tucker. I actually do think he's decent right now. I think he definitely is the best option. Rough season, but I don't think it's exactly his fault. It's more on Geno and / Kenny Pickett. It's the consistency issue. His best game was 8 catches for 149 and 3 touchdowns against Washington, but he didn't even come close to that mark. But he still has been a solid wide receiver. I think he's more of a wide receiver 2 than a wide receiver 1. Hopefully the Raiders will fix that in the offseason. Next up, we got the Broncos. Courtland Sutton, first off, he's not elite, but he definitely has been an above-average wideout. And for Troy Franklin, I think he could be a good wideout. He definitely had a pretty decent season in this one. Been a little weird, to be fair. Courtland Sutton, of course he's the number 1 option for Bo Nix. Come on now. There's no question about it. The guy gets 4.4 receptions a game. He had just over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns across the season. He caught a touchdown in that AFC Championship game. He is definitely the number 1 option out there. But Troy Franklin's starting to emerge as a very good pass catcher for him. Sure, he needs to work on his consistency and everything. He's definitely the 2nd most targeted wideout behind Courtland Sutton, but he's definitely making a good impact alongside Bo Nix, his college teammate from a couple years ago. Broncos receiver core could be deep if Pat Bryant can actually get his head out of his ass and stop getting hurt. For the Chargers, I'm going to make it a little bit quickly. I think every single one of them had a very nice season. I'm going to put McConkey in above average, Johnston and Keenan Allen in mid, in the decent tier. I think McConkey is the best receiver of this bunch, but Johnston has actually been climbing up since his rookie year, and Keenan Allen, when he got to Chargers, I think he definitely looked a lot better than he did in Chicago. Each of them had over 700 yards. Quentin Johnston actually had the most touchdowns of the 3 with 8. McConkey had 6, and Keenan had 4. I do still think the better of the bunch is McConkey, but Johnston's definitely creeping up to that wide receiver 1 spot. So you better watch out, Mr. Ladd. Next up, we got the Eagles, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I'm putting both of them in above average. Fight me. You cannot tell me that these 2 wideouts combined, they can really complement each other. Each just over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns for Brown, 4 for Smith, but each of them had some very nice games across this season. I think I combined almost 5 receptions per game, and A.J. Brown being more utilized than Devontae Smith, but Smith makes those catches turn into some big games. And they definitely helped Jalen Hurts out a lot. Now let's take a look at the Commanders. First up, Scary Terry. I'm not going to be too hard on Scary Terry. I'm putting him in too injured to rank. For Debo, I'm putting him in a decent tier. I don't care what anybody says. I think McLaurin would have gotten 1,000 yards if he didn't get hurt. And for Debo, he hasn't been bad this season. He definitely was better than last year when he was in San Francisco. But I just don't think he's a true wide receiver 1. Sure, he has those good games from time to time, against the Giants. There was some against the Falcons and Chargers, one against the Dolphins. But it's just, more and more, I don't think people really see that Debo's not as good of a wide receiver 1 as we thought he was. I was expecting him to be a wide receiver 2, but with all the injury, bug, everything else, I was not expecting him to be a wide receiver 1, and to be honest, he was okay doing it. But I still do think Terry McLaurin is a better wide receiver 1 right now for the Commanders right at this moment. I had to move my face cam and zoom out so you guys can see the list, because I think the face cam is blocking everything now. But anyways, we got the Giants next. I know Wandale had 1,000 yards, but honestly, if Malik Neighbors didn't get hurt, he would actually be just a decent wide receiver. And Slayton, to be honest, was pretty serviceable. Malik Neighbors got injured early, so Wandale Robinson was the #1 target. That was not great news, to be fair. I mean, Wandale's got some great talent and everything, but to be a #1 option, yeah, that definitely was a setup for failure. But trust me, he had some amazing games. Dallas game, where he had 8 catches for 142 yards, a long touchdown pass from Russell Wilson. He also had the 9-catch, 156-yard touchdown game against Detroit, and also the 11-reception game against the Raiders. But those were his bright spots, because other than that, it's just been inconsistencies after inconsistencies every week. And for Slayton, he's been serviceable. He hasn't been a great number 3 option, maybe number 2. But, he did kind of produce a bit. But, of course, not too much. Now we got Dallas Cowgirls. CeeDee Lamb is definitely a high above average tier over George Pickens. You know what? I'm going to give him his flowers. I'm going to put him in the league. I'm putting CD in high above average because he definitely did not live up to his previous year's totals. I mean, he did have 1,000 yards, but only 3 touchdowns. Actually had quite a bit of more drops this time around. So this definitely wasn't his best year. But Pickens, on the other hand, I think he was arguably even better in Dallas than he was in Pittsburgh. Sure, he started off a little slow, but then he started to pick things up, and now he is almost ready to overtake CeeDee Lamb to be the wide receiver 1. I mean, they picked up a wide receiver 1 to go alongside CeeDee, so that was a match made in heaven. But you really got to give credit to George Pickens for making it happen, especially after the catch. Guy balled out. Next up, we got the Vikings. For Justin Jefferson, I'm putting him in the lead. I don't care if he did not get up to his receiving totals from last year. Sure, he had over 1,000 yards and 2 touchdowns. He actually got over 1,000 yards despite having to play for 3 different quarterbacks. I do still think he is one of the best receivers in the game, but unfortunately, he didn't have a quarterback that could get him the ball enough to where he can actually help this team win. It's always been the biggest issue. It's the quarterback almost every single game. Should have never gotten rid of Donald. I feel like I say that a million times, but Viking fans need to hear it from me first. For Jordan Addison, I mean, he wasn't terrible, but I'm not gonna lie, I think he was more mid this year. No offense to Addison, I think he could be a very nice player, but his numbers definitely weren't up to where we thought they would be. Definitely did not make as big of an impact on that Vikings team as he did last year, but he was still actually a solid option. That's why I put him in the decent tier. I just feel like there were just some better than him in this moment. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions. I'm putting St. Brown in elite tier, J-Mo in above average. Starting with Monroe, we knew this was coming. 1,400 yards, 11 touchdowns, about 7 receptions per game. Guy gets targeted a lot, and it actually shows on the field. And also for J-Mo, 1,100 yards, 7 touchdowns. Like, he's starting to creep up there, but he's definitely a good wide receiver too. I think he really got going in the second half of the season. He had, aside from one game against the Bears, he definitely had a little bit of a slow start. But once that second half of the season came in, he started popping off. Props to both of them. Now we got the Bears receivers. First, it's Rome Odunze and DJ Moore. Odunze does make the big catches there and then, but I just don't see enough of him to put him above DJ Moore. I still think DJ Moore is an above average wideout despite everything that happened. Actually, nah, I'm going to put him in high decent tier. I think DJ Moore's a little better than Odunze right now. Like, Odunze, if he had the first half of the season across the whole thing, he would actually be an above average wideout. But unfortunately, he kind of disappeared after the first half of the season. He was red hot, and then he cooled off, entirely. For DJ, he's high decent tier because he has been a very consistently pretty good wideout for the Bears. It's just being overshadowed by the tight end named Colston Loveland. And, of course, the run game. But still, in my heart, I do think he is an above-average receiver. But right now, I think he's just high decent as of right now. Same thing with the Dunze. I think he's just decent. Now we got 3 receivers for the Packers. We got Jaden Reed, who got injured. Christian Watson had some injuries, but was looking like a solid receiver. And also Romeo Doubs, putting Jaden Reed in injured to rank. To be fair, I think there's some solid wideouts, but compared to the guys in above average, I just do not see them in that same level as them. I think Christian Watson's the best receiver of the bunch when he's healthy. He's just too injury prone, man. Like, he only played 9 regular season games and then also that wild card matchup, and, you know, he actually made a good impact on that team. It's just, like I said before, he's just too injured, man. He gets injured every year. As for Dobbs, he doesn't get hurt as easily. It's just, they waited a long time for him to pop off, and he finally did, and I think he was actually a more solid receiver this year than Watson. I think receiving-wise, when healthy, I think Watson's the best, but right now, I think Dobbs definitely took a spot for this year. Now we move on to the 49ers, Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. Honestly, for Pearsall, I think he's just been decent, and for Jawan Jennings, yeah, I think he's been decent as well, you know? Pearsall is here because of the consistency. Like, he has some good games there, and then it's just, and then every other time, he just disappears. And for Jawan Jennings, I know he's been a very solid wideout, you know, 600 yards, 9 touchdowns. He's been a very reliable option besides Kittle and McCaffrey. It's just, you know, he's just being overshadowed by those two. Thankfully, he wasn't involved in drama, unlike Ayuk, of all people. Now we got the Seattle Seahawks starting things off. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I think we all know he is elite. For the other two, I think Cooper Kupp has been mid this year. And for Shaheed, yeah, I can't jump the gun too early on him. He's decent as well. For Jackson Smith and Jigba, is there really much to say about him? Like, the dude's going to get Offensive Player of the Year with a receiving high 1,700 yards, had 10 touchdowns, has easily been #1 target for Sam Darnold this year. Like, the guy can do everything. The guy was everywhere for Seattle. Darnold threw him the ball. He knew what to do with it. For Shaheed, like, I think Shaheed's been better than Kupp this year, and Shaheed actually started on the Saints, got traded to the Seahawks, and he actually was doing good on not only receiving, but also special teams as well. Like, he had a couple of special teams touchdowns. I think Kupp's been okay, but he's his best years are definitely long behind him. You know, the Triple Crown wideout, you know, red receiver year. We're entering a new age now, and yeah, you know, Shaheed, good at receiving and special teams. I think he's kind of taking a spot right now. Now we also got the Rams. I'm putting both Puka and Devontae in elite status. Puka has obviously been the #1 target for Stafford. I mean, he might be his favorite target now. I mean, Cooper Kupp is in the past, and now Puka is the present. But Devontae Adams at 14 touchdowns, he's the big red zone guy. His impact on that Rams team definitely should not be understated. Puka would like to have a lot more touchdowns than 11 and 1,700 yards, but Devontae, you know, 14 touchdowns, 800 yards. If he was the #1 receiver, he'd have like 1,200 yards, maybe 1,300 yards. That's why both of them really do complement each other well, and both of them are elite wideouts. Now for the Cardinals wide receivers, Harrison, I'm sorry, but you have been very disappointing this year. And Michael Wilson, you know, you've been a decent wideout, brother. Obviously, the team is overshadowed by Trey McBride, but Michael Wilson, just over 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns, actually, as a wide receiver 2, was better than the wide receiver 1, Marvin Harrison. It's just the expectations. No one expected Michael Wilson to be as dominant through the receiving game as he was. And Marvin Harrison, you know, had some good games there and then, but just didn't do enough to really impress me. I don't think he was impressive enough for a lot of other people either. 2 receivers for the Falcons as we reach to our final division. Drake London, love the guy. Still think he's an above average wideout, not elite quite yet. I mean, Kyle Pitts beat him out of receiving yards this season. And yeah, since the fancy's coming in, he's definitely going to be re-signed. Kyle Pitts is. And as for Darnell Mooney, I gotta be honest, he's not a mid receiver at all. I think he's just serviceable. Got injured a bit, but also wasn't impressive when he was on the field. Drake London, of course, took over games when he needed to, along with Bijan Robinson. He's absolutely kind of like the Denver Broncos right now. Both of them have a wide receiver 1. They just can't find the wide receiver 2 they're looking for. Broncos may have a Detroit flanker, but I would suggest to Denver to be like us to trade for a superstar wideout to pair up with them, or at least the star wideout receiver like some of these guys over here, up there. You know, the ones in the above average tier. If both of those teams can do that, maybe their offense can actually be a lot better. Now we got the Saints with Chris Olave. Trying to go through this a little quicker now. Yes, Chris Olave is above average. He was probably on a team with maybe the worst looking roster in the NFL, but still somehow found a way to produce. I mean, Tyler Shuck was throwing in the ball, so was Spencer Rattler, but he still found a way to outproduce a lot of good NFC South wideouts. So props to you, Mr. Olave. You have definitely proven your word to the Aints. Sure, you got injured like you were the best receiver on that team. Like, not even Devon Vele can catch up to you. The most receiving yards by a wide receiver after Olave was 293. That is insane. Now we got the trio of Bucs receivers. Oh boy, how do I rank them? I'm going to give Mike Evans and Chris Godwin their flowers. I'm going to put both of them in 2-edge to rank. As for Mr. Emeka Buka, I'm going to put him at decent. Injuries really screwed the Bucs offense here. And the defense. Really the whole team. I think the Bucs were easily the best team on paper. It's just, yeah, the injuries really screwed them over here. You know, Bucky Irvin, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, some players on defense as well, like Elijah Cansey. Just the whole team almost got injured. Godwin didn't play enough games. Mike Evans didn't play enough games. It's just a shame Mike Evans lost his streak. Like, the dude's been the most consistent receiver out there, and he has been above average ever since he got in the league. For Emeka Buka's case, he had a hot start. Like, if he had that kind of start throughout the entire season, he would have been an elite receiver already. But unfortunately, he did not really show up in the second half that much. And it just sucks, because I really thought Jalen McMillan was going to be at that level that Emeka Buka was, but we were both wrong. Mainly I was wrong, because, man, I'm a freaking idiot for that. I was not aware of the neck injury he had. And yeah, when Emeka Buka was the number 1 receiver, Tez and Cameron Johnson were stealing his shine. Final team here is the Panthers. They got 1 receiver, Ted McMillan. You know, he was a 1,000-yard receiver. I think he is an above-average wide. You know what? I'll give him his credit, man. Okay, this is the best angle I can really get while talking about Ted McMillan. Just over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, easily the best receiver for the Panthers. Is it Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate? I don't think he will win it, because if Buka didn't win it, I don't think Ted is going to win it either. So, but yeah, he's definitely been one of the best receivers in the NFC South, and also probably the best rookie receiver in this entire class. To pair him against some of these receivers, I mean, he's definitely better than Shakir and all those guys. I mean, that's just being honest with you. Maybe not Jawan Jennings or Cooper Kupp or Keenan Allen or all that, but I do still think that he is a very, very solid receiver and will be for the near future for the Panthers, or wherever he decides to go. And yeah, that's it. That's all for the tier list. And here's every single person in here, and also the tiers. If you want to pause and take a look at it, feel free to do so. Not a bad job, if I could say so myself. That'll do it for this episode of Crazy Times Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you give this a bit that thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Greatest signing off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the Grizzly vibes with you at all times. Take care.